Welcome back, everybody. If you are a first timer, then welcome to the channel. I thank you guys for being here. We are about to go through our trading watch list setups for Wednesday, November 30th. I send these videos out every day, almost every day. We didn't do one last night. There wasn't a ton of great setups. I didn't want to put anything out there for you guys unless I really saw something. And what we're going to see from that, because I really didn't see anything, what we ended up having is a lot of tickers just went inside bar. So a lot of chop throughout the day. So we have a lot of inside bar setups, and we're going to talk about that in a second and how to play those inside bars. But if this stuff ends up being helpful for you guys, make sure you subscribe down below. Click that button and then hit the bell. The bell will send out notifications to you for when I send out these videos every single day. I send out daily watch lists, weekly watch lists, monthly watch lists. I send out learning tool videos. I just did a 3-part series where we go over trading without indicators, which is realistically what we're teaching with this strategy here, without any real indicators. And then it goes on to showing how to manage your trades and exit your trades. And then from there it goes to time frame continuity. But go check out those videos if you are a first timer or beginner. There's a beginner's tools playlist that you can also go check out as well. The screen that you guys see here, this is TradingView. I use this to chart all of my setups, all of my plays. If you're looking for something like this, I've got a link in the description below. That link gets you a free 30-day trial to their subscription-based services. Free for 30 days, you get to try it out. They do have a free option, but if you decide that you like those subscription-based services and you click on that link, you'll get up to $30 off of that subscription. So make sure you are checking out that offer and getting in on that offer. It's free for 30 days. Hey, the one other thing I want to go over with you guys are the ads. I know the ads suck and nobody likes them, but those ads pay for this stuff to be free. They pay for your guys' education on this strategy. So I thank you guys in advance, and I appreciate it for letting those ads roll through. Let's get started on this watch list. If you guys have questions, you can leave them down below in the comment section. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Or I have a Discord. That link is in the description below. You can ask questions in there as well. And everything that I offer you guys free or fee-based is in that Discord. So you can also find that information on Twitter. But I do offer memberships, which include one-on-ones with myself, live trading bots on SPY and a bunch of other tickers, the Griswold Strat indicator that I've created for you, which is just time frame continuity. It's all this, everything's Strat wrapped into one thing. So go check that out as well. But let's get started on this list. So the first one we've got on the list is Etsy, and Etsy has an inside bar. So for those of you who are new, let's discuss the inside bar a little bit. So the inside bar, or a 1 bar, you see these numbers, that's part of what I created for you guys as well. The 1 candle, or the inside bar candle, it's a consolidating candle. It's a tightening range candle. It doesn't break the high, and it does not break the low of the previous candle. It stays within the range. It's compacting. It's getting tighter. It's getting smaller. And if you guys know what a broadening formation is, when you get that inside bar, it's basically an inverse broadening formation. So what we get is this, and we get these candlesticks get smaller, 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 and we look for a breakout to the high side or low side. And that's realistically all the inside bars do. But we're looking for a break. So when you see these yellow bars, if you have that indicator, when you see those yellow bars, I want you guys to think of a spring being compacted or loaded. And when you release that spring, that jack-in-the-box type thing, when you're when you get that explosion, that's what you're expecting when we break the high or the low of this inside bar. So this example right here, we just have to go back in time to look. This inside bar, we triggered to the high side on, I guess this would have been Friday's bar, and this was Monday's bar. So Friday's bar, we triggered, and we hit targets, okay? We actually hit a couple targets on the way up. So that's what we're expecting. We're expecting to see these big breaks off of these inside bars. Now this one went outside bar, and they don't always work. I saw a guy, I can't remember his name, on Twitter. He said, it looks like SPY is going higher. And this was maybe on Monday. He said, it looks like SPY is going higher from here. And a bunch of guys jumped in on the trade, and it failed. And it didn't even fail. I think it went 30 cents, which is a good play on options. But guys are holding too long, and then they start blaming him for the trade. But all trades, guys, are based off of probability. So the probability is, yes, we break to the high side or the low side of this. We can take calls at 122.42 or puts at 119.28. And the probability says, yes, if we trigger to one side, we're going to have a really good trade off of that trigger. But it doesn't always work out that way, unfortunately. And that's what trading is. It's probability, because nobody knows what this next candle is going to be. So we take the high probability trades in the hopes that that trade works out. And if it doesn't, we make sure we manage our risk. We cut the trade, because the best traders, guys, the best traders are the ones who manage their risk the best, who cut their losses and move on to the next one. Okay? It's a lot of emotion comes into play, a lot of psychology comes into play when you're trading, and that is really the biggest part of trading, because anybody can buy and sell. Anybody can click a button to buy something and sell something, but it's the psychology, the emotional part, the ability to let your winners run and let the candlestick stop you out, and same thing, cut your losers and let the candlestick stop you out, not relying on hope that that thing's going to come back up to where you were before, or where you want to see it. So that is Etsy. We can take calls at 122.42, first targets or magnitude marked out with the green, and puts at 119.28, magnitude marked out at the green to the bottom side. And the magnitude or the targets that we take, guys, are just for puts, they're the bottom of the preceding wick. For calls, they're the top of the preceding wick. Ford Motor Company, also an inside bar. Like I said, there are a ton of these inside bar setups right now. So on Ford, we can look for calls at 1390, puts at 1371. American Airlines, AAL, inside bar, calls at 1460, puts at 1383. And for anybody who's really struggling with trading, or they're really having a tough time, I always tell people, and OG Trade says the same thing, concentrate on those inside bars. These are the easiest to play. Okay, you can take them to the high side or the low side. Airbnb has an inside bar. It also has a inverse hammer or a shooter candle. Two actionable signals. And when we talk about the Strat, there are three actionable signals that we look for, and that's the inside bar, the shooter candle that you see here, and a hammer candle, which is the opposite of this, where you see the big body at the top and the wick at the bottom. So with Airbnb, we have the inside bar, we have the shooter candle, we have full time frame continuity to the downside. So puts are the high probability play here. So we can look for puts on Airbnb at 95.30 and first targets at 94.81. AFRM is next. AFRM has an inside bar shooter candle, full time frame continuity outside of the day. So if we trigger to the downside, we are all red on that time frame, and it's actually a 3-1 setup. So this gold bar, again, is part of that indicator that I've created for you guys, and it shows you the 3-1 setup. So the outside bar followed by an inside bar, and that is a powerful pattern. A lot of times when we have that, we see big runs to the upside or the downside depending on which way it breaks. Now, it doesn't always happen. It's a probability thing. So we have to go back to find the last one. We found that one. Now we have to go find one more. And this is how rare they are. Like, I'm back in February and I still don't see one. Here is the next closest, but then I think it goes inside bar off of it. So we've got outside bar to a double inside bar. So if we have to go back even further to find one. So now we're in August of 2021, and I just want to show you guys this because they don't always work out the way we expect it to. The probability is high, but that doesn't mean it is what it is. It's like when you hit a roulette wheel and you've hit black 10 times in a row, the probability of it hitting red is very, very high. But yet again, the probability of it hitting black again is still the same, but not. So again, is this a high probability trade? Yes. Does it always work out? No, it doesn't. And that's, again, why we manage our risk. So we opened and we barely triggered, and that was it. That's all we got. So that's part of being a trader, is looking at the situation, looking at what we're dealing with, and looking at what we have. Okay, so we're going to move on to AMD. AMD with the inside bar as well, calls at 74.49, puts at 72.78, and we are stuck on an inside bar on the week as well, looking to break out of that. That's what those two pink lines represent. BA is Boeing. Boeing with an inside bar, calls at 175.95, puts at 172.56. We can mark out the targets together very simply, tops and bottom of the preceding wicks. And that's, again, if we were to mark out further targets, the second one to the bottom is the trigger to go 2 down on the week. The one on the top is just the next high of the preceding candle. Okay, if you have questions about that, make sure you leave them down below. And again, if this stuff is helping you guys, I'm really happy it is. But let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know with a thumbs up. Let me know with by you clicking that subscribe button. And I thank you guys and appreciate that very much. Inside bar, Citigroup. Can we call this a shooter candle? I'd like to see the top of this body a little bit lower than that, but it's pretty close. Inside bar, we'll call it a shooter candle. Puts at 47.21. First target marked out at 46.83. And calls at 47.90. First target 48.19. DKNG, that's DraftKings, one of the only plays that's not a inside bar. So we had a 2-up, finished red, shooter candle. If we hit targets, we have full time frame continuity to the downside on DraftKings. So we'll look for puts at 14.37, first targets at 14.22. GME, inside bar, calls at, what do we have, 26.35, first target 26.44, puts 25.32, first target 25.21. This is a thing I've been going through in most of my videos now. Here's what happens, guys. See how this when I have my triggers and my targets, I like to see a lot of beef, a lot of meat there, a lot of space between this trigger and this target, and we don't have that. Okay, we've only got about 9 cents to the upside. So what ends up happening a lot of times, how do I move this? Let's just delete it. A lot of times what happens is we'll open up. Okay, so let's say we open up right here and we start coming up and we hit that target, okay, like so. And then that's all we'll get. And then this thing will start to retrace. And then what we get left with, and this isn't going to look completely right, but what we're left with is this wick. Okay, you can see that purple wick there, and it just comes back and it'll fiddle fart around in this area, and we will never see that target again. So it'll come up, it'll hit that target, and it'll reverse. So it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes we're just going to continue to run, and you might have a really fantastic day. But a lot of times, what happens is it hits that first target, and that's all we'll see for that day is that one target, and it'll hit it the one time, and that's it. So I'm just telling you guys, be very cautious when you see those plays that have the triggers and the targets that aren't far apart. There's not a lot of room there. If we hit that target and then we come back through, make sure you're taking your profit. I don't care if it runs later on in the day. Take your profit where profit is given to you. So IWM, inside bar, pure shooter candle here, calls at 183.61. The high probability play is to the downside. Okay, so puts at 181.96. First targets are through the trigger to the downside at 181.43. And there is good room here. And if we trigger down, we've got full time frame outside of that quarterly chart. Hey, JP Morgan, inside bar, calls 136.64, puts 134.41. This is one of those ones again where there's not a lot of room here, not a lot of space. Hey, Nike. So Nike, here's a little bit of a different one. So we had a 2-up, finish green. I'm going to look for a continuation here on Nike. So we're going to look for a break of 106.82 at that trigger point, and we're stuck inside weak. So we haven't broken either side of that inside bar. We're showing inside weak currently. So I'm going to look for this to trigger to the upside, and our first target is 107.18. That would also be the trigger for the weekly on Nike. Pfizer, inside bar. Hey, calls at 49.67. First target, there we go, 49.74. Puts 49.10. Plug Power, 3-1 setup. We also have this inside bar shooter candle here. We have full time frame continuity to the downside, and we have some targets further down here. There's a second target, not a lot of room there, and there's the third target. That's the one we'd really want to hit first for a big gain on plug. So be cautious of it. We do have full time frame continuity to the downside. We do have that 3-1 setup. If we go back and look in time, this 3-1 setup wasn't great. We didn't hit targets. Here's the next one here. If we look at this one, 3-1 setup, and this one wasn't great either, but here's the thing, guys. It triggered. I know that's a green line, but it triggered, and it hit targets. Okay, it did exactly what it said it was going to do. And that's the thing you guys have to realize with trading without any real indicators like VWAP or EMA crossings or whatever, what have you, any of those. When you're trading pure price action and what the candlesticks are telling you, each candlestick tells a story. It's telling you what to do. You just have to be able to comprehend and read what it is, what it's saying to you, and learn how those candlesticks are going to react based off of probability. Okay? So they're telling a story. Read that story, understand that story, practice this stuff. Put the time in. We're not looking at getting 100% bangers, 3, 4, 5, 600%. If you guys can get 20% a day, that's 100% a week on your capital that if you put in $1,000 every single trade, you put in $500 every single trade, if you can get 20% off of those trades every single day for 5 days, it's 100%. You doubled your money. Okay? I'm not saying that's going to happen every day. You're not going to get 20% every day. Sometimes you might lose 10%, 20%. You need to make sure you're cutting your losses. But some days you might get 100%, and that's your quota. I'm not saying you have to take 20% a week. I'm just using this as examples. But you doubled your money in a day or 2 days. Okay? So make sure you guys are immersing yourself. If you want to learn this stuff, learn this stuff. Put in the time, put in the effort, because there is no get rich quick schemes here. It can happen, but you are better off doing it as taking your profit, getting those small wins, getting those base hits. Okay, get on base, get the base hits. Peloton also has an inside bar, calls at 1086. First target at 1099. First target to the downside, if we trigger that way, 994 off of the $10 10-cent trigger. SoFi inside bar, and we are low. I think this is all-time lows for SoFi. So I would look for a rebound back to the upside off of this inside bar. Okay, so calls at $4.57. I wouldn't take this trade to the downside, to be honest with you, just because we are at all-time lows, and the Stratters like Sarah talk about exhaustion risk. So we don't want to get caught in that exhaustion risk. I would look to take this trade only to the high side. I probably wouldn't be taking SoFi down to lower lows. So calls at 457, first target at 463 on SoFi. Space inside bar, calls at 503, puts at 480. Target. Okay, so this one is also a little bit different. We've already broken to the high side of the inside week. So we have a 3-bar or an outside bar. We've broken both sides, both the low and the high of the previous candle, and we have a hammer candle. It's an actionable signal. Yes, it's an outside bar, so we are going to look for a 232 continuation off a target and come back to the top, really tag this resistance here of the broadening formation. So we're going to look for a continuation on target. Calls at 166.97, and first targets, where are we looking at here? Is that the first target? That's your first target. That's your gap fill. And that is a really big really big target to fill. Actually, sorry, my bad. This is your first target, okay? Because you're trying to fill this gap, this void left here from this candle to this candle. We're trying to fill that gap. So when we do that, that's why it looked so funny to me. When you do that, you take the bottom of the preceding candles to get to your targets. Okay, so there, then there, and then to the top once that gap is filled. Okay, so anytime there's a gap to the upside, the bottom of that candle gets filled, and it's vice versa. The top of the candle gets filled if you're looking at puts that way, if you guys understand that. So again, calls we're looking for here at 166.97, and really good magnitude to this upside on target. We'll see how that plays out on Wednesday. WFC inside bar, 3-1 setup, calls 47.65. First target we're going to mark out 47.75, and first target to the bottom is marked out. The last time there was a 3-1 on WFC, Wells Fargo, we had a couple back-to-back here. And again, not a great move. It moved, but it wasn't great. Here's another one. This one worked out way better. Okay, we triggered, we hit targets, and we hit more targets if we come back through here. Actually, we didn't quite hit the top of that target. But still, this was a really good trade. Here's another one here. We gapped down, but you could have played the gap on that. If you don't want to know how to play the gap, I'll leave a video set at the end of this video in the top right-hand corner. You guys can learn how to play the gaps, the morning gaps. Okay? Beyond Meat, inside bar. Okay, actually a 3-1 setup again. Outside bar, inside bar. I'm not going to go back to show you. You guys can go check out how they normally play out. But again, calls at 13.01, puts at 12.45 on Beyond Meat on that inside 3-1 setup. Inside bar on INTC, so calls at 29.18, puts at 28.74. Inside bar on General Motors, calls at 40.04, puts at 39.54. Your targets are shown there. We're also looking for a breakout of the inside week, so we'll see if we get that with a big run on GM tomorrow. And Rivian, RIVN, Rivian Automotive, inside bar, full time frame to the downside, so we can look for puts at 28.66, calls at 29.49. Make sure you're watching what we showed earlier in the video with those targets not being far apart. Not saying it can't run further to the upside or downside, but I'm just telling you guys to be very cautious of what you are looking at and what you're watching and what you're jumping into with your setups. Guys, hopefully this information is helpful for you. If it is, again, click that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Get in on the Discord. That link is in the description below. If you need extra help, Griswold Gold membership. There's one-on-ones included with that. I do one-on-ones separately for you guys. If you need the extra help, the extra questions, join in on it. Get in, ask. Don't be nervous to ask. Okay, the indicator is part of that gold membership. The live trading bots, so you guys don't have to go searching for your trades. They come directly to you. Those rooms, they send out plays on the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the hourly, on ticker symbols like SPY, QQQ, CCL, DIA, Tesla, NEO. There's a whole bunch of them, so go check that out as well. And good luck trading on Wednesday, guys. I wish you nothing but the best. Make sure you're checking out the playlist at the end of the videos. They will give you even more information, more helpful tips on how to play this strategy to its fullest, okay? Good luck trading, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.